Rod, so 35 years ago, the Reining was a part of an AQHA show, so one class at the show?
That is right. Back in those days, the Reining, this is all pre-NRHA Australia. We would go off to the quarter horse shows. They would run all the performance events, and typically in our area there would be a handful of reining runs, a handful of cow horse runs, and a handful of cutting horse runs, and that was the environment that we sort of become involved in the sport. And as I say before, reining was the number one standout for me.
And can you remember some of the names that you were watching go around in the pen, other than what you've already mentioned?
Oh yeah, there was always a few good names getting about. Some of them are no longer with us, but one person that does stand out, and that's a person not so much right at that very early stage, but as the years went on, Ian Francis has been one of our greatest mentors, and be forever indebted to the knowledge and information that he's been able to share with us.
Hopefully we can get him on a In the Spin episode at some stage.
Yeah, tell him I said he's got to.
Rod, 35 years ago, Reining's obviously come a long way. I mean, all of our youth riders wouldn't even know Reining without the assistance of YouTube and things on the internet that they can watch now. What are some of the major changes that you've seen over the last 35 years?
Yeah, well, back in those days, surface preparation was non-existent. It could be anything from a half reasonable sand arena to, I even recall reining patterns being run on grass. So that was the era.
And how did you stop score on the grass?
Well, I didn't have to stop on that. That was a little bit just preceding my involvement. But the industry has grown so far. We wouldn't certainly be happy about that these days.
Oh, absolutely. You've got the people that are still, worried about every little thing it shows sometimes, aren't you? But it's about just getting out there and having fun too.
Getting out, having fun, looking after your horse, and enjoying the fellowship and the competition and the after parties.
Yeah, absolutely, and the Caliope's put on a good one there, don't they? Rod, so 35 years of reining, it's, you see a lot of people come into the sport, go out of the sport, and, you've got that sort of revolving door sometimes with people. For something to hold your interest for 35 years, how have you kept it interesting for yourself?
Well, I think even way before I got involved in riding as such, I always had, even from a little fella, I had a strong passion for horses, and I was always drawn to them. If we went to an agricultural show or an environment where there were horses, I was always drawn to them, and was very much in awe of everything about them. And but opportunities didn't knock for me to get involved in that at that early stage, and when it did, I grasped it with both hands, and just really enjoyed it. To say why it's stuck with me all this time, I really can't probably answer that, but I think the enjoyment and the pleasure of being involved and working around the horses, improving your knowledge and skills associated with training and showing these horses has been something that I've enjoyed so much.
Fantastic. Rod, you've ridden a lot of horses over the 35 years, I imagine. Is there any standouts that you can think of?
Yeah, I have been fortunate enough to ride many horses over my time. Not necessarily I've trained them right from the get-go, but in the latter years, I took it upon, as my knowledge improved, I took it upon myself to do most of the work with myself as far as the riding was concerned. I always was mentored by those great past competitors, and I think that's I then became very found that very enjoyable to go through that whole journey of getting the horse to a safe stage and then taking it through to competition, and fortunately we've been able to enjoy some good successes along the way.
Fantastic.